On this episode of Stay Rhymey, we have an exclusive interview with the poet, painter, and engraver, William Blake. This morning we have with us the lovely poet, painter, and printmaker, Mr. William Blake. Good morning, Mr. Blake.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
It's our pleasure to have such a marvelous person with us, such as yourself. You write, you paint, you carve. I mean, the real question is, what can't you do?
Well, thank you. That is very flattering. Yes, painting, poetry, and my wood engravings definitely kept me pretty busy. Since a young age, I loved to draw, and when I was 10, I abandoned my homeschool studies, and my parents enrolled me to Henry Parr's drawing school, which was where I sketched the human figure by copying from plaster casts of ancient statues.
Wow, so how did you discover these talents? What was your first talent?
Well, when I was 14, I began engraving, and my master was the engraver to the London Society of Antiquaries, who sent me to Westminster Abbey to make drawings of tombs and monuments, which was where I discovered my lifelong passion and love of Gothic art.
So it sounds like painting and engraving were your first loves, but what about poetry? When did that come about?
About when I was 21, I finished my 7-year apprenticeship. I began a journeyman copy engraver. That year was also a big year for me because I was admitted to the Royal Academy of Art School of Design, which was where I first began to display my own works. And it was after that I began privately publishing my poetical sketches, a collection of poems that I had actually been writing over the past 14 years of my life. So that while I was painting and engraving, I wasn't just drawing my inspirations, I was also writing them down.
Now, speaking of your inspirations, I know there's something really unique about you and your works, and it's the thing that makes your work so powerful, your visions. Tell me about your visions.
My visions are characterized by my work and make me the artist that I am today. Painting and poetry isn't just a hobby for me. It's the way I bring my visions to life.
So, when did you start having these visions?
Well, I had my first vision when I was 4 years old. I saw God's head appear in a window. Later, I also saw the prophet Ezekiel under a tree filled with angels.
That's pretty incredible. So, and I noticed that a lot of your works involve biblical references. Is that due to your visions, or were you just a really religious person?
I wasn't a huge admirer of the Orthodox Christian Church due to the limitations of earthly joys. However, I adored the Bible and was inspired by it since I was very, very young. I did many works on the Book of Job and the Book of Genesis. I did design my own mythology in my prophetic books, but I was not a religious follower. I simply admired the many works of the Bible.
Wow. Well, being a writer, a painter, a visionary, and an engraver, you were also a teacher to your wife. Is that correct?
Yes, my lovely, darling, beautiful wife. I taught her how to read, write, color, and even experience visions through me. However, it was nothing compared to how much she helped me through my brother's death.
Oh, and your brother's death was something very traumatic for you, correct?
Yes, in 1787, my beloved brother Robert died from tuberculosis at age 24. At the moment of Robert's death, I saw his spirit ascend through the ceiling. It was so inspiring and breathtaking that I had to record it in many of my works.
That's incredible. And that wasn't the only way he inspired you, correct?
Correct. A year later, he appeared to me in a vision and presented me with a new method of printing my work called illuminated printing. This allowed me to control every aspect of the production of my art.
That is just incredible. I mean, your works have been inspired by your brother, by your visions, and by biblical references.
Oh, absolutely. They have all helped me create all of my works of art, including my poetry and my paintings.
Well, thank you so much for your time. It's been awesome. I can't believe how much about you that is just so unique that no other writer, poet, or artist has. I mean, that's incredible.
Thank you so much for having me. We didn't have this technology when I was a little boy.
All right, well, stay rhymey.
Adios.
Esso unleaded fuels now have more cleaning power, reducing some harmful emissions by up to 20%, while still allowing your car optimum performance. Esso Unleaded, a new generation of performance fuels.
Today on Talking with Tigers, we have The Tiger with a Y from The Tiger by William Blake. So, hello, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Not to be confused with the Clemson Tiger that she's obviously a fan of. Okay, so exactly how old are you?
I'm 220 years old, but I like to tell people I'm 32 just to make myself feel better.
Oh yeah, you definitely don't look a day over 30. So, who do you think your maker is? Like, are you religious? Do you believe in
Yeah,
God?
I believe that God made me. It's pretty lonely out there in the jungle, so I like to, pray sometimes, talk to God, that kind of stuff.
So, where are you from exactly?
I'm from England. I live in the forest in England, but right now I'm about the only tiger there, so.
Oh, and is England the only place you've lived? Or in the forest?
Oh.
Is that the only place you've lived?
No, I lived in the zoo for a couple years, but that didn't really work out because the whole captivity thing didn't really fly with me, so moved out.
What would you have to say to other tigers out there? You know, I know you were the first tiger in pop culture back in 1794, but what would you say to other up-and-coming tigers?
I mean, I just like to follow the tiger code. People are friends, not food. So don't go eating people and, just following the tiger life.
So do you feel like the poem was a good representation of you?
Yeah, I feel like it was a good representation of faith because we all question how we're made, and the poem's about questioning how I was made, so I feel like it's a good representation of that.
I agree. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you so much for being with us. It's been a pleasure. Stay tuned because next time we're going to have Tony the Tiger from Frosted Flakes cereal.